Okay, I think we are live and streaming. If there's any kind of issue, please go ahead and let me know. I'm actually checking one thing out real quick. Hold on a sec. Well, let's turn that off. Okay, cool. Looks like my audio is okay, and you can see me clearly enough. Ooh, what's that audio coming from? Go. I had my own screen, or my own player open in another window. The horror. Give me a sec, guys. I'm sorry. I can either be on time or not fucking around for the first 5 minutes, but I can't do both. Alright, we're good to go. So, welcome everyone. My name is Nick. This is Board Game Brawl. This is our weekly Q&A, or bi-weekly, or whatever I get around to doing it. I know, I'm sorry. But it is Christmas Eve, and I wanted to do a Q&A regardless. I know most of you, hopefully most of you aren't working today or anything like that. Even despite the fact that it's, or even aside from the fact that it's Saturday, it's also Christmas Eve. But if you are, and you're able to listen to me illicitly in a second browser window open on your desktop while you're sitting away at work, then hopefully I make it slightly more bearable for you today. I will have the day off on Monday, which is nice, but I had to work a full day yesterday, which kind of sucked. I was like, maybe he'll let us go half a day early. And then I came home and did a little not really impromptu, but I moved my game night I normally have tonight to last night just because I knew most people wouldn't be able to make Christmas Eve. They spend it with their families. They're not angry loners like me. But that's cool. We ended up playing a 4-hour game of Legendary Encounters. If you play Legendary Encounters with 5 players, or any Legendary game, don't. Let's put it that way. But it was still fun, actually. And then that's pretty much it. I've got a ton of stuff to work on today. Since I don't have a game night tonight, I'm going to put together the assets for the next, 40 entries of the top 100 list. Because I'd love to get, all that done before the weekend's over. I probably might knock out quick reviews for the new Legendary Encounters expansion, Legendary Alien expansion, and the 2 other sets of Justice League Hero dice, because it's super quick. But I also have a preview that I'm way behind on, 2 previews I'm way behind on, so I got to get that done too. But the point is, I'll be working through the holidays on the channel, not my actual job, but this channel, and you guys will see a bunch of stuff go up. And then I'm hoping maybe Monday I can take most of the day off to play Kingdom Death. That's what I just want to do that for myself. So I'm hoping I can do that. And I do want to make some time to watch some Christmas movies. I finally want to watch In Bruges, because I've heard that's not only a great movie, but it's Christmas-y. It happens at Christmas. I want to watch Krampus, which came out last year and no one watched it. It apparently didn't do very well. But critics seem to be split on it. But Red Letter Media loved it. A lot of other people I know in my life said it was really good. I might watch Scrooged. That's a tradition for me. And then Die Hard, of course. And Gremlins. I haven't seen Gremlins in a long time. But anyways, it is time for the Q&A. So a few questions have piled up while I rambled on. So let's go ahead and get to those. I hope everyone is having a good Christmas so far, or whatever you celebrate. Thank you very much, William. What's your take on the Queen Games fire sale on Amazon? Are they in trouble? Well, I didn't know of such a thing. Actually, maybe I did. I think I follow... who said that? I'm Facebook friends with Scott Alden of Board Game Geek, and I think he mentioned it, but he didn't mention it in any kind of suspicious way, what does this mean? So I didn't think anything of it. But I've always thought the Queen's Game was in trouble, because first off, they are kind of an OG of game publishers at this point, because they were around before the board gaming boom even hit a few years back, and they've just been doing more and more. On the other hand, I always thought that of all the companies that use Kickstarter but probably don't need to, why did Queen Games? Because Queen Games was already an established publisher, unless they really desperately needed the money. And I was wrong the whole time that they weren't just doing a pre-order system, they really needed the money. Whereas, like, Cool Mini or Not, Cool Mini or Not, by the way, if you guys don't know this, it's a publicly traded company now, not in the U.S., but I think in the Chinese stock exchange, something like that. Maybe you guys can correct the details, but I know they are publicly traded somewhere. That's how big of a company they are. They actually were given, they have investors, okay? And that's how big they are, and they will never, ever stop using Kickstarter, I assure you. So there's different shades there, but Queen Games I always thought was someone that was just flagrantly using Kickstarter. Maybe they're not. But they don't seem to, I don't think they've had a hit in a while. They keep putting out big box editions of their older games. I don't know. I like a few of their games, but I don't have any personal attachment to them. So if the market deems that they must die, then so be it. Alright, what else do we have here? Have you played the Arkham Horror LCG yet? Any plans to do a review of it when you've played it? Hopefully I'll get to that this weekend. Not the review, but the review. And hopefully I'll get to the game this weekend and the review sometime next week. Anything you are by the way, I am excited to try it. So, anything you are particularly excited about in the Kingdom Death Monster Kickstarter campaign book, Inverted Mountain Campaign, The Frog Dog? Yeah, so I haven't checked in on Kingdom Death Monsters campaign. It's got like 13 days to go, something to that effect, a little less than 2 weeks. And it is going bonkers. I mean, I think it's the last time I checked, which was yesterday, it was like 8.3 million, but it's probably like 8.4 at this point, something like that. Which means it's inevitable that it will indeed defeat Exploding Kittens, which is the #1 tabletop project. And I use that term loosely because it only has like, I think Exploding Kittens had like 8.7 something. So chances are it will defeat it, and even more stuff will be unlocked. So it's doing well, to put it mildly. I think it will end up being like the 6th or 7th most funded project of all projects. Now, there's things I've been excited about and things I haven't been. One of the things I have not been excited about is the Frog Dog expansion. I really hate that. And that seems to be a very divisive one. I hate the way it looks. It's not just because it's gross. I mean, there's a lot of gross things in Kingdom Death that, even if I don't necessarily like it, I like that it fits into a theme of a darker, grim, gritty, disgusting place, because that's what the theme is supposed to be. But they look like they belong. The Frog Dog looks completely out of place from everything else. On top of which, I just think it just looks dumb in general. Now, it's interesting because the lore is something that you can divorce from the gameplay, except that the theme and the lore is very important to Kingdom Death for setting the mood. And the lore that he wrote up for the Frog Dog and the thing, where it had like electro bubble farts and things like that, it killed it for me. I was like, okay, I can accept that it's an ugly looking model that's kind of out of place, but at least if it's got a cool story, oh, it doesn't. It's one of those things where he treads Adam Poots, the designer of Kingdom Death, treads a very cautious line between having an incredibly dark and grim world that he builds, but also trying to put some levity into it. And that line might just be different and zigzagging in certain places in different ways for everyone, right? So like when he puts out models that are like Super Saiyan versions of the survivors, I'm like, it's kind of a fun thing. It doesn't, you can play with them, you can not play with them. I think it's kind of fun. It doesn't really kill anything for me. But then when he does the Frog Dog, which is supposed to be part of the world, and it's not just a little side thing or a pin-up or anything like that, and it's just really stupid and goofy, I think it kills it for me. I don't like it when humor is sort of forced into a game in that way. Like, for instance, I just got an update for Apocrypha, which is, like, way delayed. I even forgot about Apocrypha, the card game I backed on Kickstarter from Mike Selinker. And he showed off some of the cards, and a lot of the cards have flavor text on the bottom, and it's, like, stupid jokes and puns. And I'm like, no, it's supposed to be a horror game. It completely takes me out. And that's what the Frog Dog does for me. And other people, some other things might take them out, too. Now, having said that, other parts of the campaign I've really loved. The whole Inverted Mountain thing with the battle with the Pariah, the Inverted Mountain campaign seems really interesting. I love the idea of, I forget their names, but they're like the Red Knights or the Red Warriors with the cloaks. Those are really cool. So there's things I've really liked and a few things I haven't liked. And that's just the way it goes. I'm not as thrilled about the mosquito, the giant mosquito you fight, but it looks like Kingdom Death. I'm not upset about it. So all in all, I'm very happy with it. I don't like all the wacky... some of the wacky hijinks he does are kind of funny. For those of you who don't know, if you follow the Kingdom Death Kickstarter, because Adam Poots has a really devious sense of humor, and because he feels very connected and like he's got a personal relationship with his backers, he will just do wacky stuff. So he likes to, like, one time he said, okay, I'm not going to make a roll today unless one of you beats this Super Mario level that I made on the Wii U. And we did, and that was fine, right? That was fun. And then he threatened to take stuff away at one point, and a lot of his little tests and challenges come with this. There's another board gaming channel that does Twitch plays of Kingdom Death, and he ties a lot of the goals to what they do. Like, if they defeat this monster in their Twitch live play today, we get to unlock something. And I don't begrudge those guys for having a channel and for getting attention. That's awesome that they love this thing and the designers giving them so much attention. But I do wish the Kickstarter was run a smidge more professionally. Not because I am personally affected by it. I don't even care if like one of the pinups gets taken away or something. But because there's a lot of new people coming in, and they're like, what is this? Like, what is this? I've backed 50 other projects, and none of them have been like this. I was so excited for this, and this guy is like treating it not seriously and just wacky. I mean, he's made $8.3 million. I suppose it doesn't matter, but that was my take on it. So I'm a little bit more dour on the project as a whole, but overall, there's so many cool things that have been unlocked, like the campaign book you mentioned, that I'm still on the positive side of things. What can we expect? When can we expect your review of Pokemon Monopoly? Yeah, I posted on Facebook that I was sent a review copy, I guess, of Pokemon Monopoly Johto League Edition. I don't even know what Johto is, and I'm never gonna review it. I'm just gonna re-gift it to a friend or family, someone that has a kid. I'm not like an abject Monopoly hater, but I have no desire to play it. And I already reviewed a Monopoly on the channel because I thought, like, well, I should review a version of Monopoly because it's so well known. And I reviewed the Adventure Time version and came to the conclusion that, because people had told me for years, okay, Monopoly's bad, but if you play with the rules the way it's supposed to be, it's not that bad. It was still bad, but it wasn't horrible. I understand why people play it if they don't have any better options, but I don't have any desire to retread that in a Pokemon review. Someone had a very interesting and creative idea to say, like, do the review as if I've never heard of Monopoly before, just to troll the audience, which is funny, but I don't think I could do it effectively enough. I encourage someone to do that, though. Let's see. I know you don't play many PC games, but have you seen Super Dungeon Tactics available on Steam? It's Super Dungeon Explorer the way it should be. Well, it's interesting you mentioned that. Where is that thing? I don't know where it is right now, but I ordered some miniature from Super Dungeon Explorer's store, Soda Pops, which is like a giant iron golem knight or something, and it came with a free code for the game. So I will play it eventually, because I have it. It's for free. I just haven't gotten around to it. It seemed interesting. Actually, I ordered this thing. It feels like over a year ago. I think it was over a year ago at this point. This is my Carcassonne Special Edition thumb drive that had the demo for Super Dungeon Tactics front loaded on it, but I don't even think I bothered to play it. But I've heard it's decent. What are your thoughts on the Twitch challenges? Well, I just answered that question, actually. Again, I don't want to seem like a hater. I don't begrudge those guys at all, because if I was in the middle of doing something and then suddenly the creator of this beloved thing started paying attention to me, I'd be like, oh, it's not those guys' fault. I think that it's just weird that Poots became a fanboy for a channel and now he's actually actively incorporating it into his business. It's kind of weird. Should Trump play nuclear war? Trump should do something. He should start watching a lot of post-apocalyptic movies, but he'd probably just say, yeah, cool, people getting killed. I'd like him to learn a lesson somehow, but I just don't think he is. Yeah, I've heard the only way to win is not to play. That is very true. Have you been able to sleep more with a more relaxed reviewing schedule? No. I still just have so much to do. That's the thing. It's just, I think every night this week, including last night, by the way, I only got between 4 and 5 hours of sleep. So, I don't know. Maybe it's just something wrong with me. Comments on Rogue One. a couple people said. So I posted a little capsule review, very, very brief, on Facebook. If you can go and check that out. The night of, I went to go see it last Thursday, and posted my thoughts afterwards. And my opinion hasn't really changed, but I've become more negative on the movie. But basically, I'll reiterate what I said in my Facebook post, which is just that it was a decent action flick. Okay, there was lots of explosions and they were really cool, and it was shot very well, but the characters were terrible. I didn't care about a single one of them. Yes, I know there's a wisecracking robot, but when you get past his like I'm using quip, haha, there's nothing to that character either. The main character was so incredibly dull and lifeless, and like they show her in one scene to be a badass action hero, and then that never comes up again, and then she doesn't do anything at the end of the movie that anyone else couldn't have done except for some really stupid MacGuffin. So she was dull, everyone else was dull, none of the characters I cared about or liked, and the most obnoxious thing to me was the extreme fan service. Because I like Star Wars, but I don't think that every Star Wars movie needs to have a lightsaber. I don't think that every Star Wars movie needs to shove... I mean, by the way, this is spoilers. If you guys haven't seen the movie, you should tune away for a few minutes, because I don't really care. I'm going to spoil it. They shove a pointless cameo from C-3PO and R2-D2 in it, and that right there was the most obnoxious and disgusting thing to me in that movie. Like, it had no business being there. It was purely just, as the Red Letter Media guy said, to dangle keys in front of the audience. Like, shiny, see? I felt so insulted that they felt like they had to do that. And that might be the second worst thing. The worst thing is the CGI Grand Moff Tarkin, which I've seen some people on the internet say, oh, it looks so lifelike, I couldn't even tell the difference. Someone had to remind me that it wasn't actually him and he was actually dead. These people are either deluding themselves or they just weren't paying attention. As soon as I saw him, because I didn't know that there was going to be a fake character in the movie. I did not know. I knew that what's-his-name was dead, but I didn't even know that they were going to have that character in the movie. As soon as it came on screen, I said, what are we watching? Did they splice in a scene from the Polar Express? That's how bad it looks to me. I immediately could tell. Our technology is not there yet. It looked like we had just fallen into the uncanny valley and hit every sharp rock on the way down. Okay? And then also with Leia at the end, I felt the same thing. And so the bottom line is, it was an entertaining action movie, most of it. The first hour was boring. But they had to shove in all this crap that just completely took me out of the movie. And look, The Force Awakens was not a masterpiece. The fact is, it was essentially just the first Star Wars soft rebooted, which was a problem for me. However, the characters were great. It looked good and was exciting throughout. I felt like there were stakes and it mattered. I mean, this story was essentially pointless with Rogue One because we knew how it was going to end. And so again, as Jay from Red Letter said, if you know that the story is unnecessary and we know how it's going to end, then what you have to do to make people want to stay involved and invested in it is have incredibly interesting characters and lots of fun moments. And I think it failed in both regards. So I didn't hate it. It was fine. I was entertained. I don't feel like I wasted my money, but I'll probably never watch it again. So that's my angry old man review. Let's see. Hold on a second, I lost my place. What does the crown next to the rank of a game on Board Game Geek mean? I don't know. Is that a thing? That might be like the new page. Let's take a quick look since it's not like I have anything else to do, like, you know, having a Q&A. I don't think that crown means anything. I think that's just an indicator of this is the rank. I don't know. They did a lot of weird things with their redesign. Have you seen... Okay, are you going to be doing a 2017 anticipation video? I don't know. I actually, in my haste to get all these other things done, because I still need to do a top 10 of 2016 and finish my top 100, I hadn't thought about that. And the thing is, there's not a lot of games I anticipate from 2017. Now, if I really look and see the release schedule for the next year, I could probably come up with 10. Would I be that passionate about 5 or 6 of them? I don't know. But thanks for reminding me. I'll have to check that out. In Bruges is fantastic, but really darkly funny. Yeah, that's actually why I was interested in, because it seemed like it might be my bag. Do you listen to music when you game? If you do, what type? Yeah, much to the chagrin of some of my players, I like to have my laptop next to me listening to my Spotify. I just do a shuffle of my entire Spotify music list. So it's just a bunch of indie nerd stuff and some hip-hop. Last night, since it was Christmas time, I did Spotify's radio station. I did the hipster or indie holidays, which was cool. Did you see that you can download another scenario from Manchester Madness for $4.99? Really? I didn't know about that. What do you think about this? Thanks for the awesome Q&A. Thank you, Joy. I did not know about that, and that is way too expensive. Now, the main app is free, but you did pay for the game, which is expensive. I can't even remember what I paid for it, but I think it's a $50 to $70 game, and then you have to spend $4.99 for a scenario. That seems way too much, and they know that you need the scenarios, by the way, because that's the one fault with the game is there's not enough of them. I'm not down with that, if that's true. Matthew asked, did you have a previous association with the Dice Tower? I did. Let's see. How long was it? Not too long. A year or maybe 2. Initially, I was doing guest spots on their Dice Tower Showdown podcast. I don't even know if that's still around, actually. But at the time, I don't know if they were always looking for people or they just liked me, but I did like 6 or 7 of them. I did a lot of Dice Tower Showdowns where people would argue for one side of another of an issue, and I liked it because I just like to argue. And then eventually, Tom Vassell, who is the head of the Dice Tower, started a morning breakfast show called Board Game Breakfast every Monday. In the beginning, it was untitled. And almost from the get-go, maybe the second episode, I did a Kickstarter segment where I just talked about the projects that I was interested in that week for 2 minutes. And that lasted for a while. I think I was at least on there for a year, something to that effect, maybe a little bit over a year. And then Tom decided I was no longer a good fit for the channel. So then we parted ways January, maybe it was December. It was either December or January of last year or the beginning of this year. So yeah, there was that. And also I think I did some random miscellaneous stuff, like I was I put together all the votes for one of the Dice Tower Awards things, and I was at the Dice Tower Con, little stuff like that. I also was on the gaming marathon, at least one of them they did. Let's see. Where lost my place? Any overall thoughts about board gaming in 2016? Overall, I haven't been too terribly impressed with everything that's come out, although I haven't had a chance to play everything. But I think that last year and the year before that were so amazing that it's kind of hard to compete with that. So I'm not willing to say doom and gloom like, oh, terrible year, sign of the industry fading. I just think that I maybe had an off year and I didn't get the chance to play everything I wanted to or appreciate everything I wanted to because I had such a busy year. Well, we'll see. I do have to, like I said, I still do put my list together, and we'll see how that goes. By the way, my microphone's light burnt out, and it's very creepy because I keep thinking my microphone's not on. That's disturbing. Which Kingdom Death Monster expansions have you played? Which do you think is best? I haven't played with a lot. I played with The Lonely Tree, which is not that interesting. That's the one that people usually say to skip, and I agree. And I played with The Flower Knight, which is really interesting. Most people seem to think that the Knights are the best of like the smaller expansions, although they're pretty comprehensive. I actually think, even though I haven't played through an entire sitting of one of them, I tend to think that for pure variety of gameplay and content, the campaign style expansions are the best, which at this point, and they're going to redo the whole campaign system and things with the nodes and all that, but at this point, the Sunstalker, then the Dragon King, I think changed the game so dramatically that they're more worth it just for the amount of content that you get and to have a different experience. You allow food and drinks on the game table? I sure do. I'm not a Nazi about that. Even though I've had a couple of incidents, someone spilled an entire wine cooler into my Risk Legacy box one time, but fortunately didn't cause any damage to anything relevant. I actually think it was into the top of the lid, which meant a lot of it spilled onto the floor, but fortunately we'd already popped all the envelopes. So none of the cards got ruined. Because if you guys don't know, in Risk Legacy, there's envelopes that you unlock as you play, and they're all on taped to the top of the lid. Let's see. I believe that Simon's Coleman or not is on the Hong Kong Stock Exchange. Thank you very much. But maybe due to a parent company. I don't know. I think they are the parent company. Maybe I'm wrong on that. Eric Martin, I'm sure, has the right of it, whatever he said, because he did a comprehensive report about it. Actually, I was very upset because he did, and someone's actually about to comment on something similar to this, but he does blog posts and he'll put multiple topics together, right? And that blog post happens to bring up the article written by a former worker of Asmodee regarding the hypersexualization and even racist stuff, according to her, in the new Conan board game from Monolith. And in that same blog post, though, he mentioned the whole thing with Cool Mini or Not and them being publicly traded, which I thought was fascinating because, like, why are they still on Kickstarter and all this stuff, right? And I even made a comment about it. Completely forgotten about and buried. The entire thread it looked like a religion, sex, politics thread, an RSP thread of the thing about Conan. So I felt like a very important bit of news was lost, and that no one paid attention to it. As a liberal, do you feel uncomfortable about the sexualization of some of the women characters in Kingdom Death Monster? Honestly, yes. Now, I don't think... This is one of those things where intent and result can be things that are divorced from each other, right? Do I think that Adam Poots or any of the artists and people that he hires to work with him have sexist, misogynist tendencies? Not even a tiny bit. Based on me, I've read like every update the guy's ever written for both the first campaign and this one, posts that he's sent out to just like email blasts that he's done and things that I've seen, and the fact that he does most of the work with his wife. I mean, she's not just like someone who consults with the game. They are Kingdom Death. They make the game happen. He might be the driving force, but it doesn't happen without her, is everything that I've gleaned from it. So based on all this, I don't think that I don't think that he hates women or objectifies them. Well, okay. I suppose maybe he does. But I don't think it comes from any kind of ill intent. But nevertheless, how do you reconcile that with the fact that in the campaign there are one of the things that you can purchase are these pinup models that have no gameplay purpose and are there explicitly to show, in most cases, very exaggerated, scantily clad women that are way out of proportion to what reality is. And as part of the new campaign, they've done a bunch of male pinups also hypersexualized. And those are optional. They have nothing to do with the game. You can play the game without ever having played with them. I have maybe like 2 or 3 pinups that I've purchased because I liked the models. There's one that's really dynamic where there's a woman with like a dagger behind a wall and it's really cool. But you can't use them in the game. And so you might say like, well, if you can't use them with the game and they're just completely optional, then what's the big deal? Well, that's what that's a primary part of what he needs to fund the first campaign, especially, and even this one. So clearly he's okay with these hypersexualized models, and I can understand why some people would be really bothered by that. I would be perfectly happy if they all just disappeared. If that part of the game was not there, if maybe some of the in-game stuff was... But, you know, in-game, you're a survivor, everyone wears loincloths, it's not like a big deal, and it never looks gratuitous. So if it was just this grim, gritty horror thing without the exploitative parts of it, I'd be wonderfully happy. But it's there. A lot of people don't care about it. There are a lot of women I see commenting on the Kickstarter page who are perfectly, maybe not happy with it, but okay with it. And I would trust their opinion on it, to be honest. And in the grand scheme of things, I don't think it was I don't think the intent was there for it to be a nasty thing. I wouldn't necessarily say that about other games. Like, I'm still kind of on the fence about the whole Conan thing, but I could definitely see an argument where that they were more exploitative in the Conan game because they were trying to appeal as an homage to the olden days when women were just things to be grabbed and hauled off. So I don't know. It's one of those things where the better angel part of my brain wants to decry it, but I don't think it's that big a deal. Merry Christmas, Nick. Merry Christmas to you. I am playing the others today. Did you ever get around to playing it again since your review? How do you like it? I actually think I did because I played with the Apocalypse expansion, and I was going to get around to reviewing it and decided not to. So I was just going to dump on the game more. I think I'm one of the few people that did not like that game, and the Apocalypse expansion didn't help. And ultimately, I'm just waiting to get rid of it from my collection. I think that was a rare misstep for Eric Lang and for Cool Mini or Not. Any good things coming on Kickstarter next month? I don't know. Remake of Masters of the Universe? Sure. As long as it's as laughably bad. Oh, that's what I should probably watch too. I still have a commentary track sitting around from Red Letter Media for Masters of the Universe. Did you decide to sell or keep Conan? It is on the chopping block. I haven't got rid of it yet, though. My game, if you want it, you can back me on Patreon and have a chance to buy it. And the others. My gaming group is trying to get our wives involved in gaming. Can you suggest any games that are good for couples besides just Japor, Carcassonne, and Patchwork? Thanks. Merry Christmas. Well, I'm not a huge fan of it, but Seven Wonders Duel is apparently lighting the gaming world on fire, and it's for 2 players. It's a good couple game. Lost Cities, I think. If you're both sets of couples playing together, I mean, there's the staples that even though I'm not like really crazy about, I would still recommend them to people who are not like crazy into gaming. Ticket to Ride. I just had it on the top of my tongue. What the hell? Pandemic. You know, again, I'm not the biggest fan of these games. I like Pandemic Legacy, but I still think they're really excellently designed games. They're really simple and straightforward, and they work well for new gamers. So I would recommend those, and I'm sure other people in the comments can give even better suggestions. Yeah, Love Letter's a good one too. Have you... Oh, YouTube, stop that. Have you seen Life and Legends yet? No. Is that a game? I mean, I only assume. Well, apparently not. Tell me what it is, and I'll tell you what I think. You hate someone enough to give them Pokemon Monopoly? Well, come to think of it. I actually was thinking of giving it to someone who was here last night, but because he has a kid who's into Pokemon. But that guy's a hardcore gamer, even more hardcore than me. So I'm like, he'd probably look at me like, what did I do to you? How cold are the nights there? Not enough. In fact, even for Florida, it's unseasonably warm this year, and I hate it. We actually had a couple days this week that were overcast and kind of on the cooler side, and I'm like, yeah! And now it's blazing sun outside, so... Any initial impressions for Conan? Not yet. I'll let you know. Have you still not played Arkham Horror, the TCG? I have not. I'll get to it. I like that some of the Kingdom Death Monster designers have been on Twitch Game Night and shared information about the design process and backstory. Yeah, I heard something about that. I knew they had guest stars. I didn't know who it was. Thank you very much. I had to jump on and wish you a Merry Christmas. Well, Merry Christmas to you as well. What anime I'm into right now? Well, I'm way behind on it because I guess it came out like 3 years ago, but I finally got around to watching Psycho Pass, and it's great. Psycho Pass, the first season, is great. I loved it. I devoured it. Once I got into it, it's kind of hokey and cliche because, I mean, it's just essentially like Minority Report or a send-off of Minority Report. But I really love the characterizations. I love the main character, Akane, who feels like one of the most well-rounded female characters I've ever seen in anime, because they have a definite dearth of good female characters in anime. But I also liked Kogami, who is the male lead. I thought it was very interesting. It looked good. The animation was good. It was just a tight story. A very tight story, felt very Americanized, which is not a bad thing. I know you watch anime because you want to see a Japanese perspective on things, but I felt like the story, there's a potential for it to end badly, because most anime does end badly, but they kept the story tight and didn't go off into La La Land, which I've heard is a very good movie. And now, having said that, they did a Psycho Pass 2, which is like a kind of an abbreviated second season. I started watching it. It's clearly not as good, and it's definitely not necessary. And I don't know why they bothered with it, other than cha-ching, because I think Psycho Pass was a moderate hit. But it's still entertaining, and I'll probably finish it at some point. Also, JoJo's Bizarre Adventure Arc 4 just finished yesterday, and I cried the last episode. I'll admit it. It was very tear-shedding. Hey Nick, how did you get Dreadmire, the Xenoshift expansion? No, I'm wondering if maybe I should start to worry that I haven't gotten mine yet, because other people said they got theirs too. Have you played Star Wars Destiny Dice yet? Plan on reviewing it? No, it's sitting right behind me, and I gotta tell you, I bought it with the idea like, this might be interesting. As soon as I unpacked it and looked at it, I got the 2 starter sets. I'm like, I have very little desire to play this, but I will. I will review it eventually. This is why I'm saying, like, maybe it's not me, because a lot of people are excited about that game. A lot of people are excited about all these other games. And I'm just not very passionate about these games. It doesn't mean I'm not passionate about board gaming in general anymore. It's just that the games I'm most interested in playing are just other things. Like, I got this game called Unicornus Knights in finally, and it looks amazing. And I know it's got an anime artwork, so yeah, it's like shiny keys to me. But it also has like a really great theme to it, and I hope it's actually good. Let's see. Is Kingdom Death Monster a satisfying long-term play experience without the expansions, say weekly sessions over a year? Absolutely. The great thing I can say about Kingdom Death is, yes, it's very expensive, but also if you just do not want to spend money on expansions, like you just do not want to do it, you don't have to. It's a very, very complete gaming experience out of the box. And absolutely you can do a year, because you're probably going to die several times and have to start over. Technically, you should be able to do it in 25 weeks. Okay, what does your shirt mean? Is it a monkey making zombie snowmen? Yeah, this is an older shirt. I had it for maybe 4 or 5 years now. It's from Think Geek, which I used to shop at when, I don't know, I wanted terrible products and finally learned better. But one of the things I got was a free shirt that has their mascot monkey making snowmen, and it's supposed to be an homage to Calvin and Hobbes. Look it up online. There's amazing. I mean, Calvin and Hobbes is amazing in general, but every Christmas he would do comics of Calvin making snowmen murals that were just awful, but intentionally awful, like of zombie snowmen eating each other's brains or getting hit by cars. It's pretty great. Mansions of Madness 2 is $85. $85, and they're going to ding us for $5 for a scenario? It feels really hokey, and I'm hoping I have something wrong with it. Like, I'm hoping it's got more than just the story. Charles brings up a good point that the pinups were technically before the game, which is to say that Kingdom Death as a boutique, their phrase, line of miniatures was around before there was a game to wrap them all up in. And he's right. They were just there for miniatures aficionados to paint and appreciate. So, you can't begrudge them that. And if you look at other miniatures lines, there's a ton of scantily clad females. So, when he made a game about it and people started complaining about it, and feminists online started writing blogs about how bad Kingdom Death was, I would imagine Adam Poots was probably like genuinely shocked. Like, why is this a big deal now? Which is not to excuse it. Again, I'm very torn on it. I'm very biased, and it's a game that I like. And, of course, it's admittedly hard for me to criticize it. And yet, as someone pointed out, I'm a liberal. Not just a liberal, I'm a progressive. And so, I don't know. I'm somewhere between a liberal and a progressive, and there's some things I'm like, why are people fighting this battle? Like, you know, people in their pronouns, and people getting upset over depictions of women that are scantily clad. And other things I do get upset about. And I don't know. Again, the line is different for everyone. I gotta get something to drink. My throat is just killing me. Let me see. Where about in Florida are you? I'm in Ruskin, about a half hour south of Tampa. I've never even heard of Ruskin. But I am down in the West Palm Beach area, in the southern tip of that. So I'm in the South Florida area. So I think I'm like several hours away from you. Have not played Star Wars Destiny yet. Yes, I figured that a lot of people wouldn't be ordering from Patreon because Kingdom Death Monster is sucking up all the money. Hey Nick, I'm back in Kingdom Death Monster at the $300 level. How much more do you think I'll have to spend on sleeves and other miscellaneous accessories? 0. Now, I sleeved and laminated some of my stuff, but just because it was a passion for me to have more to do with the game. But you don't need to worry about that stuff yet. Make sure you like the game, and then don't worry about buying more stuff until you need to. Honestly, and I really liked, by the way, that Adam Poots, the designer, in one of his posts, he didn't really call attention to it too much, but he did throw a line in there that said, look, I'm going insane with all the stuff that I keep doing and giving to you guys, and the promotional stuff, and more stretch goals, and all this different type of stuff. That doesn't mean that you should. Buy within your budget, essentially. He said, don't go insane, just, you know, you don't need to go crazy pledging for this stuff, just get what you need. Feliz Navidad, Nicolas! Thank you very much, and a Merry Christmas to you as well. Could you elaborate a little more on the Tom... What? Hold on a second. I gotta read this whole thing. Could you elaborate a little more on the Tom Vassell decided that it wasn't a good fit thing? I just assumed it was a politics thing, but realized that might be my own prejudice. Well, I don't really know what you mean by politics, but it basically just came down to I was a very vocal and outspoken person when it came to criticizing publishers and criticizing individual designers that either I had personal issues with, or that I just felt were really bad for the industry in general. I had policies that I felt were bad, and that I wanted to call them out for it. That doesn't really jive when you're working with someone who is very much friends with all of these people and wants to stay on good terms with them. So that was the basic thrust of it. I think I've talked about this before. And we don't need to belabor the point, but that's basically what it came down to, was that my very nature and the very way that I conducted myself and how I like to be very outspoken and honest and truthful, not that he's not, but I mean, I just don't hold back when I have an opinion about something, didn't jive with what was going on in the Dice Tower. And even though most of my views were just my own views that I purposely didn't put in any of the videos I did for the Dice Tower, he didn't want to be associated with me and my channel, is essentially what it was. Which I understand. If you're going in a completely different direction, why would you associate with someone that is going in the opposite direction? Yep. Burger King fries are greater than McDonald's fries. They're both terrible. How about that? Have you watched Kimi no Nawa? It's the number anime film. Oh, is that the one that's titled as Your Name, technically, in English? Because I downloaded it, but it was a really crappy copy, so I'll probably not watch it. But I do want to watch it because I've heard a lot of really good things. What game consoles do you own, and which do you identify as most as a gamer? Well, I have not played video games in a long time, other than my mobile games, which is just one, Marvel Future Fight. But in the past, I had the last two systems, major systems that I owned and still use, were PlayStation 3 and the Xbox 360. My Xbox 360 I only had because there were a few exclusive games I really wanted to play. But my PlayStation 3 was my favorite system. I still use it to this day for watching Crunchyroll and watching whenever I want to watch a YouTube video on the big screen, like a longer one. And I think PlayStation is what I most identify as, because going back to PlayStation, I had PlayStation 1, PlayStation 2, PlayStation 3, and those are the most really excellent games I ever played are located on those systems, and the most fond memories I have. I loved my Genesis and my Super Nintendo growing up, but totally eclipsed by everything PlayStation has done and released. The Twitch streamers are from Coral Springs. I didn't even know that. Wow, that's interesting. I had no idea. I've been to a few groups around here besides my own. I wonder if I've met them. Life and Legends is an adventure card game on Kickstarter. I'll have to check it out. Thanks for mentioning the Apocrypha card update. Late backer, so I didn't get the emails. And you should move up to PlayStation 4 soon, dude. Yeah, but I just don't play games anymore, so it feels like a waste. I'll wait for a while. But, I mean, having said that, there's a lot of games I want to play that I never got around to. I never played Fallout 4, and I really, really want to. I never played... obviously there's new Final Fantasy out that I'm getting mixed reactions from, but it's still a regular entry in the series of Final Fantasy, and I'd still like to play it. I actually never got around to playing Skyrim, although I heard it's better on PC. What else? Well, Mass Effect, the new Mass Effect's coming out, and I really want to play that. I loved Mass Effect. Let's see. Did you do the Secret Santa on Board Game Geek? No, I did that 2 years in a row. Maybe it was probably 2013 and 2014, and then I didn't do it these last couple of years because it was it's a hassle, which is fine. It's supposed to be a hassle. You're doing something for someone else, but I just couldn't be bothered with it this year, which makes me sound like a terrible person. But there you go. Anything new with the superhero shows? Well, no, because they've been on hiatus for the last couple of weeks for the mid-season break. But I thought that some of them ended strongly, some of them didn't. I thought that Arrow and Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. ended very strongly. I think that The Flash officially sucks now, but is still entertaining. And Supergirl was okay, too. I like the big invasion crossover they did before the break, which was pretty good. Oh my god, Nick, you caught up before the hour is up. It's a Christmas miracle. Well, it depends on how you look at it. Most of the time, I think on the majority of my Q&As, I end up with a ton of unanswered questions because I take too long answering. And so I feel really badly and end up going over time, which isn't necessarily a great thing, although it's good because we're having fun. Today, I think it's just because there weren't a lot of people watching, and I think either the holidays had something to do with it, the late time that I posted this last night and announced it an hour ago or 2 hours ago. So, that's what it is what it is. But having said that, I wouldn't mind necessarily ending 10 minutes early so I can go and get some work done. But I'll answer this last question from Blukes. Any thoughts on New Angeles? Theme and production looks slick, but 3 hours for a negotiation game. Well, that's exactly what I'm worried about. It is literally and figuratively right here. On the bottom of Doom and Arkham Horror, and there's the Predator Encounters box because I had it out to play the Alien expansion. I have all the Encounters stuff for those two games in the same box. So I will get to New Angeles when I can. I'm a little bit leery of it too, to be honest. I'm hoping it's great. I heard good things. And is Die Hard a Christmas movie? It is a Christmas movie if you want it to be. It takes place at Christmas, and it is a movie, and therefore it is a Christmas movie. But I will say this for sure about it. It's great fun, and it's a sign of what an action movie should be. All right, guys. I'm going to go ahead and end it there a little bit early, but that's fine, too. I'm sorry that I haven't had as much stuff coming out, but I will work my ass off to get some cool content for you this week. and the 2 previews I should have had done already. But thank you so much. And listen, honestly, have a fantastic holiday weekend. Even if you don't celebrate the holidays, even if you celebrate a completely different holiday from Christmas, whatever it might be, hopefully the one thing we can all come together on is we don't have to do much work this weekend, if at all, unless it's work we want to do. And you'll be together with friends and family and loved ones and get some gaming done, and it'll be fantastic. The point of the thing is, we've had a really terrible year, and I want everyone to just have fun this weekend. That's all I want. That is your present to me. Have fun. That's all I want from you guys and girls, okay? So, with that in mind, have a Merry Christmas. I'll see you before the new year, but have a fantastic weekend and take care. Bye-bye.